Thanks for joining us. My name is Ibrahim Sani. A few weeks ago, we spoke with Enric Casals, the Regional VP of Southeast Asia as well as Oceania, and the conversation was very robust. I want to get him back on. Enric, let's talk a little bit more about the whole notion of the four pillars that you speak of just now, including the kind of catered solutions for, say, for instance, the local market, like go local, where you can take a car and drive and expand locally, or country-made solutions like providing vaccination, I guess, certifications in order for travelers to travel safely, not just for the travelers themselves, but for the hotel providers and other providers within that industry. Do you feel that these kind of solutions can't be done without technology? And to what extent are you using machine learning and artificial intelligence in trying to craft these kind of solutions from the trends that you guys are listening, both from the consumer side as well as the partners that you build?
So I will start by saying yes and yes. Your questions. So the reality is, as we are able to craft those solutions because we have a very strong machine learning and AI system that allows us to do that, and it's not only the ability to do it; it's the ability to do it fast and the ability to learn very fast. Because once we launch a product, we learn the reactions from the customers in real time, and we can adapt. We can change. So, for example, you have a spa, you have your restaurant, and you have your premium rooms, and you say, "Hey, I want to promote all of them." And so you start promoting them. You put them in Agoda, and we start saying that actually what's most successful is the spa. People wants to go to your spa. The other ones are less successful. We can give you the feedback immediately. And you can adjust your offering based on the real time feedback of the customers. So it's not only about ability to do it or whether we can do it or not. Is we can do it fast. We can learn very fast, and we can adjust and improve it as we go.
Where is the human intervention in this?
The human intervention,
or none.
There's plenty of human interventions. Like as I said, we have more than 1,000 engineers. Constantly iterating, constantly optimizing, constantly experimenting.
But these are engineers.
Yes.
Not social studies people or people familiar with human behavior or psychology or that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But Agoda is not only 1,000 engineers. No, it's many other people. So we talk to the partners. We look at the trends from the consumers. We do understand what's the behavior, and then when we do understand, then we go to a drawing board, and then we think what's the solution that can solve the customer needs, and then we create hypotheses. Yeah. Then the engineers help us to define what is going to be the experiment that validate or invalidate the hypothesis, and then we launch an experiment. Yeah. Then we observe the experiment. We see the numbers. Machine learning helps us to optimize the experiment, and when it's finished, we look at it, and then we interpret the results and decide the way forward.
So this is being done by your decision science team or something to that effect?
Yeah. We create the hypothesis, we define the experiment, we run the experiment, and then we interpret the results. That's all human. Yeah.
Okay, look, I can imagine there are two tracks running simultaneously. The everyday people that is trying to chase sales and revenue. I get that. But then there's also this whole parallel track of people trying to optimize solutions to help the first track. And sometimes companies in general, they lose focus where they, in order for you to chase sales and the likes, that whole idea of bringing the company to the next level is not seen or just forgotten, I suppose. Is that happening with Agoda?
No, what's happening is we strive to serve the needs of the partners and the consumers.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you focus on those objectives, and you also focus on having a sustainable business, because there is some companies that has been launched recently were fueled by cheap money, so they didn't have the path to profitability. But it's not our case. We always try to be a profitable company.
Yeah.
So focus on sustaining a profitable business. Focus on having machine learning and AI helping you solve the needs of the partners and solve the needs of the customers, then that's what we focus on, and that's I think what drives our success.
In the previous conversation that we had a few weeks ago, you were talking about Agoda being a tech company that is doing travel, I suppose, which is very important for us to explore because of recent months, tech companies around the world, big major companies have retrenched tens of thousands of staff, anywhere from Amazon to Meta to Google, maybe even Apple. Do you see that happening with Booking Group right now, or even Agoda? Or in terms of, I guess, losing jobs?
That's a good question. So we are all tech. Yeah, we consider tech, and we will operate in tech world. But our demand or the key elements of our demand are very different.
Okay.
So Netflix, Facebook, Google, they do very well the more we spend our time in the online world. Yeah. So when COVID happens, most of the people spend disproportionate amount of time online, doing the online groceries, watching Netflix, watching videos, etc. So there was great time for them. We suffered a lot. We struggle. They did very well. But our drivers of demand.
So did Astro, by the way. So did my employer. During that period.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. You know? But what happens is that we thrive when you, instead of spending time at home watching videos, you go out and about to discover the world. That's when we thrive. That's what's happening now. So though we are all part of tech, our current drivers of demand and our current fate is very, very different, just based on that we cater to different behaviors of the consumers.
Okay, but the pandemic has taught us one thing, that despite technology, a pandemic is just around the corner. The next pandemic is just around the corner. I'm sure you've built some sort of strategies to a point where you can manage and weather that storm when the next pandemic hits.
Yeah, well, I hope it doesn't come anytime soon.
Of course, nobody's wishing that.
Look,
but
actually, I think during my lifetime there was the only big pandemic I saw. Well, there was SARS before, but it's been two. I hope it doesn't come anytime soon. But the reality is that during the pandemic, this pandemic, and there was a big serious pandemic for Agoda, since it was created, we learned a lot. Yeah, and the last time we talked, I was explaining 4 different things that we did as a result of the pandemic, how we were able to learn and then listen to the consumer, listen to the partner, and develop specific products for that specific situation. I think if there is another pandemic coming, or any situation similar to a pandemic, which we don't know, the future is uncertain, I think we're going to be ready, more ready.
Okay, and now I shall cash in the promise that you gave us last time, which is destinations and areas of interest that you have experienced. You were mentioning that you have a personal goal of 100 countries. And some countries that you mentioned are quite interesting, like Bhutan and Uruguay, I suppose. But maybe you can share with us the kind of ideas that you want to explore when you talk to your customers, people like me. What would be some of the destinations that you think is actually quite interesting to explore?
Well, I mean, consumers, the world is complex, consumers are very diverse, so it depends on what each person wants to do, because there is destinations for everybody. Yeah. So let me talk about my own experience. So I do 4 types of traveling every year. As I said, I'm an avid traveler. That's my passion. I like to discover the world and discover.
So I guess you got a good job, I suppose, working in.
Yeah, I do. I actually I'm very happy that I joined the travel industry. But I do the family trips. So I recently, for example, I went with my daughter to Dubai. Dubai has an amazing offering for families, so it was a great trip. But but I also travel for business a lot, and then when I travel for business, I also try to combine with discovering the local, even if it's tasting the local products or getting to know the people. But then also one of the things I do is to travel by myself.
Yeah. Oh, solo traveling.
I do solo traveling because there's places my wife doesn't want to go.
Yeah.
So remote places that she says, no, you go by yourself, these places. So via my solo travelers trips, I've discovered very incredible places all over the world. So not long ago, I was in the least visited country on the planet. Yeah, it's called Nauru. It's in an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and for some estimates, they receive 50 travelers or 50 tourists per year. I don't know if it's true, but if that would be true, that means one person per week, and that week it was me. I was the traveler going there. Very interesting. When you go,
did you meet anybody else when you were in Nauru? I mean,
locals. Yeah, I had a good time meeting.
No, what I mean is, did you meet any travelers? I suppose. When
no.
So I guess that's the
maybe it's true. Yeah, it sounds. But it was a very interesting trip. Like you go to these places and they are unspoiled. Like you see the real country, and those are like I mean, if you like to explore and go to remote places, those are very good places. I've also been in Vanuatu, another place that is very exciting. Tuvalu, Tuvalu is famous because it's one of these places that unfortunately is at risk of disappearing because of the climate change.
So it's Maldives, right? Or
Maldives is a bit bigger than Tuvalu, so
okay.
but definitely Tuvalu it's at risk. But other places like even closer here, like Mongolia, Bhutan, those are like amazing places.
And sorry, you were mentioning 4, and I counted 3, which is solo traveling, family traveling, business travel. One more.
Yes, and the other one is to reconnect with my family and my wife's family. So my wife is Korean, so we go to Korea pretty often. Korea is an amazing place. I don't know if you know Korea very well, but
you and yourself. You're from Barcelona. You're Catalan, and then
yeah, exactly. I travel to Barcelona pretty often too to reconnect with my friends there. Barcelona is an amazing city. Let me promote a bit Barcelona. You've been there. I think you like it also.
It's unbelievable, by the way. Yeah. It's not often we see tech companies promoting sustainability and ESG. We try our best to see how tech companies are trying to reduce their carbon footprint, which already you guys are reducing, but that whole consumption of energy is actually quite high. And do you feel that the whole idea of sustainable traveling is a key feature for your customers? And how do you support this whole idea of ESG traveling?
Yeah. Yes, actually, sustainability is very important. I think there is no interviews I can have these days without talking about sustainability. What I can say about sustainability, listening at our customers, is that sustainability is not a fad. Is here to stay. Yeah. So we see it started in Europe, like the consumers are becoming more sustainability conscious or environmentally conscious. Then came to Asia via North Asia, like Korea, Japan, but now it's everywhere. Like all the customers are becoming more environmentally conscious, to the point that we know our customers are telling us that they will not book certain accommodations if they know that accommodation doesn't have good sustainability credentials.
Wow.
So it is already on the choice of customers to travel. So we've done several things on this area. First, as a Booking Holdings, we've developed a sustainability badge by which we help consumers to identify the properties that have good sustainability credentials. But another thing, and this is a project it's very close to my heart, and it's a project that I'm very proud of. it's something called Eco Deals. Eco Deals is a partnership we have with WWF, by which when
World Wildlife Fund.
yeah, the World Wildlife Fund. It's been already 2 years with collaborating with them, and the way it works is when environmentally conscious consumer goes to Agoda Eco Deals and they make a booking in our Eco Deals platform. We take $1 from that booking, and then we donate that dollar to a specific local initiative funded by WWF. Yeah? For example, somebody traveling from Barcelona to Malaysia, if they book in via Eco Deals, then we will take that dollar, $1 from that booking, and we will donate to the preservation and conservation of tigers in Malaysia. That's Malaysia. We choose the tiger preservation, but we have this program open in 8 countries. We have it in Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, and India. And in each of these countries, we have selected a different project. Yeah.
What's the take-up rate for Eco Deals?
So it's getting very good reviews from both consumers, yeah, and partners. And the partners are telling us actually that this is something that motivates a lot of the staff. The staff are very proud of participating in this. So
they feel good.
Yeah, they feel very good, and it's the second year already. The first year we started with 4 countries, but given the good results that we had the first year, we expand now to 8 countries. And if I'm not wrong, this year, if we reach our target, we expect to donate more than $250,000.
Just by a simple tweak, I suppose, to the business model.
Yeah, and actually, if you want to know what was the genesis of this, like why we thought about it.
I do want to know.
It's not a boring story about an office discussion or boardroom and us brainstorming. The story is way more simple than that. It comes from a 5-year-old girl, and that's my daughter. So that's what she inspired me to think about this type of program. So what happens is my daughter is now 7. For the last 2 years, she told her friends in the school that she didn't want a gift for her birthday. She just wanted them to donate money to a specific causes. My daughter loves birds, so she said, "Well, can you donate money for a specific project for the conservation of birds?" The first year we donated to the kiwis in New Zealand. This year we've donated to the reintroduction of extinct in the wild bird in Brazil. It's called the Spix macaw, which
it's facing extinction.
Is extinct in the wild.
Extinct.
So there's scientists that are working on the reintroduction of that species in the Amazon, in Brazil. Actually, your audience will know because the movie Rio is based on that bird. Okay. Rio is that bird actually. It's called the Spix macaw, and so she got a donation, and then I promised her I'll match the donation, whatever she would get. My wife and me will match. Every year is getting more difficult to match the donation, but that kept me thinking. It's like, okay, how can we replicate that? What's our role as OTA? Can we do something like this? And that was inspiration. It was a father inspired by the daughter thinking about this.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, it really is unbelievable. But this underlines the fact that the Generation Alpha is not inward looking. They are always thinking about the community, the global landscape, and the environment they live in. My children, they are 9, 11, and 16. The way they think is extremely interesting. We've just celebrated their birthdays because they celebrate the 2 of them at least. Birthdays are very close to each other, and they were talking to me. Yeah, okay, what do you want for your birthday? My boy wants a Nintendo game. My girl wants the latest Toka Boca suite of games on iPad. I get that, But then they were like, you know what, why don't we work towards the environmental efforts of our school? It was something to that effect, similar to what you're saying. And that got me thinking, because at the very least, Generation Alpha, or the folks that are born, 2000 and beyond, are thinking differently from our generation, from our age group, and they are looking at how they can impact the environment better. Does that reflect in your business, in Agoda, in terms of how decision makers, parents in this case, are traveling? Are they traveling more environmentally consciously now or not?
So it's about the trend of sustainability, of environmental conscious. It's not only parents. Like, no, it's a global trend. We see it in all generations and in all type of travelers. Yeah, what we see is that it's clearly started in Europe, and then Korea, Japan took over, but now it's even in Southeast Asia. So it's everywhere. As I say before, it's not a fad. It's here to stay.
What about the final area of exploration that I want to do with you in this interview is on the geopolitical risks that are rising from the rising tensions of China and Taiwan, for instance, or Russia and Ukraine, or all these other stuff that is happening around the world. Do you feel that that is impacting leisure travel at all, or that is still quite not something that consumers are thinking about?
So there's 200 countries in the planet, and we only have one life, and there's plenty of things to discover. So it is true that there is geopolitical tensions, as you say, in many different parts of the globe, and not only those, by the way. There is way more than that. The truth is that people continue traveling. It's true that they don't travel to those places. I mean, who would like to travel to a place in which you risk your life?
Yeah.
That's for sure. But they travel to other places.
I went to the DMZ when I was in Korea.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Sorry, I'm the outlier. I am the outlier. You're talking about the mass
DMZ,
majority.
not North Korea.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
my brother-in-law went though.
To North Korea.
Pyongyang. Yeah.
I've not been in North Korea.
Yeah.
That's one place I have not been.
Do you want to?
I think it's a very unique place. So why not?
Yeah, I'm sure.
But back to your question.
Yeah, sorry.
No. I think what it does is to affect the choice of destination. Yeah, not even the origin, because people in whatever places, they continue travel and they continue trying to discover the world if they have the means to do so. But what it affects is the choice of destination, of course.
Okay. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us. Top 3 places do you think that our viewers need to go to right now?
Well, I love, as I said before, I love Bhutan. It's, I think, a unique place. I'm gonna stick with Asia.
No. Okay.
I will stick with
let's
Asia.
do 2 lists. 3 places that you must go around the world, and 3 places in Asia.
Bhutan, Mongolia, and if you can, Maldives. It's amazing. Yeah, and that's for Asia. Around the world, I would say is Namibia, and the Namib Desert is amazing. It's a desert that the sun is red. It's like a.
This runs straight into the ocean, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, right? Correct. And there's I would say Tanzania, because you have all the animals, and then you have the Kilimanjaro mountain. And let me find something in a different continent. One place I love in America is Ecuador. I like to climb mountains from time to time, and they have incredible mountains in Ecuador.
Lovely. That was Enric Casals, Regional Vice President, South Asia and Oceania for Agoda. If you've missed this part of the interview, just head on to astronomy.com and find the interview here. Just search for Agoda on our website. Also, we did one interview before this with him as well, and we spoke at length about the business of travel and the industry, the trends of the travel industry. So do check that out. This has been a very interesting conversation. I haven't had this kind of conversation for a long time.
Thank you, Ibrahim.
Thank you very much, and until catch you in the next one.